Ladies and ladies and ladies and gents, tell me what is better time spent than watching the Day 9 Daily today? We're going to be looking at Liquid Hero this Wednesday, and that seems cheap to rhyme today with Wednesday, and I generally hate it when people do that. Seriously, I remember when way back when I was really young and I read, like Jack Prelutsky, all those like Shel Silverstein poems, they would rhyme a word with itself. It would be like forever, and they'd rhyme it with forever. And that just absolutely made my 10-year-old brain explode. I was like, this is not real poetry. We're not rhyming words, we're just repeating them. I can do that, it's easy. Welcome to Day 9 Daily number 383, where we learn to be a better gamer. As you'll note, I didn't sexify myself today. I donned clothing, I showered, I bathed, I smell fantastic because I actually recently made my own perfume. I kid you not, more on that later. But I didn't, the hair's a little frizzy. I didn't put in the usual product. I don't have the glasses in, so I have the eye shrinkage. Look at the eyes. Huge eyes. Little eyes. Huge, little. And that's okay, because I don't want anything to distract from how sexy Liquid Hero plays in this game. It gives me a loan. If anyone catches that reference, that would be very impressive to me. So, in today's wubulous, wonderful world, we will be examining an absolutely beautiful, brilliant, insane, suave PvT from none other than Liquid Hero. Ooh. So we're going to talk about that. I'm sure I have some announcements to make. First of all, you just look good today. Can I just say that? I saw you there, sort of maybe saw you there, tuning into me, and I was like, my goodness, you just look so good for me, and I appreciate that. Just for you. The second thing I wanted to note is that next week's Fun Day Monday topic is what? Next week's Fun Day Monday topic is going to be the Champion Fun Day Monday, where you engage in a 4v4, where 3 of you are not the champion. Those 3 players may never have an army that is more than 20 food. The champion, however, may never have workers more than 20 food. So that means the champion has 180 food worth of army to do battle with, and it is up to him to win the game and the other 3 to feed him money. At the start of the game, you must announce who your champion is and why he is the champion of your people. Submit to Monday at day9.tv. I don't care about announcing anything else. So let's go ahead and talk about Protoss vs. Terran. I'm in a great mood today, and let me explain one of the reasons why. Because I'm a good son, because I am an amazingly good son, I want to raise my mother well, I have proposed to her the following, and she has agreed with much elation the following, that we watch Ghost in the Shell, the standalone complex together. Who's a good son? Point to him. Point to him. Here he is. Here he is. Yeah. That's right. I get to introduce her all up to the Laughing Man, and amazingly enough, I haven't finished the whole series, so I don't know what happens with that. Who's a good son? Who's a good son with the Nerd Rage shirt on? Let's talk about PvT. So, Protoss vs. Terran has had this sort of traditional basic development to it, where Protoss tends to be a little bit in the passive mode, sort of like holding back, holding in, goodness gracious, don't attack me, and the Terran is the aggressor, the dropper, the guy who does the things. Let me compare this a little bit. Well, first let's just expand on that a little bit, and then I want to compare it to the way that Brood War Zerg vs. Terran worked. Not that any of you played Brood War, but still what I'm going to do. So, the way that this generally feels is that the game starts and the Terran maybe expands or something like that. No one can really attack each other because of the bunkers at the front or the Protoss' force fields, but then the Terran is moving out with Marine Marauder groups. Protoss has to be careful. Defensive, have good force fields. Then the Terran gets Medivacs out. Ooh, and now all of a sudden he can begin aggressing, and the Protoss has to be defensive and careful. Even things like Medivacs throughout the game, having this really mobile Marine Marauder Viking army, always trying to pick stuff off, and in the traditional feel of things, a lot of times the Protoss is kind of like this. And you envision the way some of your pokes might go. You think, well, let me try to do a little bit of attacking here. What happens? He EMPs your sentries. You try to run away, but he has concussive shell slow, and you get crushed in the face. Cool. Now, I want to introduce this term called the ball. And because I'm juvenile, that will always make me giggle. The idea of the ball is just similar to possession in soccer, where the team who has the ball is the one who's sort of controlling the flow of the game, and the defenders kind of have to sort of free-form set up a way to block the opponent with the ball. In Brood War, or in just strategy games in general, the person with the ball is the person who is the aggressor. In Terran vs. Protoss, traditionally, the Terran almost always has the ball in the game. He's almost always the one setting the pace. Be mature, Sean. Be mature. You're 25 years old. Balls. Come on. All right, let's just get this out. Testicles. We can just say that now that we have the concept established. The reason I bring this up is players have started to say, well, when can we put Terran on the back foot? When can we have possession of the ball in this matchup? The way Brood War, Terran vs. Zerg worked is it was this big flip-flopping. The game would start and Terran would have the ball, be putting pressure on with Marines, and then Zerg would get Mutalisks up, and Terran would have to defend until Terran got a large enough Marine force and could maybe push back out, but then Zerg got Lurkers, and Terran was on the defensive and Zerg was on the offensive. And then all of a sudden, Terran got science vessels and siege tanks and was pushing back out. And then Zerg got Dark Swarm and was pushing back. And there was this nice motion like this going on. And now I'm going to say something that will make me giggle. The reason I bring all of this up is LiquidHerO's play is a beautiful demonstration of someone regularly seizing the ball when you didn't think you could. God, this is such a great explanation, but I will say that the word ball just... I can't not... whatever. He does this incredible amount of aggression where all the times when you think a traditional Protoss can't move out, he moves out. And what we're going to see in this game is some really unorthodox play from LiquidHero, where he's the one setting the pace of the game, he's the aggressor, and suddenly Terran is the one defending. And there's one thing I want you to be aware of right now: how quickly Terran can be on the defensive footing as long as Protoss is taking those opportunities. How extremely quickly Terran is kind of doing one of these things. The second thing I want to bring up is the general idea of harassment, right? In general, harassment's good as long as you can bring it back around. As long as you can sort of pull back to the center. Terran can do the Banshee harass and the Blue Flame Hellion, but they gotta come back to Marine Marauder Medevac in this matchup. You can do this, but you gotta come back. MVP rarely ever deviates. He's just like, I'm gonna make Marine tank at the start, and I'm gonna keep making Marine tank. He doesn't deviate in harassment. Ordinarily, what you will hear me say is, don't over-harass. We gotta keep the core together, right? Don't over-harass at all. Because otherwise, if you're doing Blue Flame Hellion harass and Banshee harass, you'll suddenly have no army. Make sure you keep that nice center core force as your main focus. We're going to see the opposite logic from LiquidHero saying, hey, deviating is going to be really strong for us. And we're going to see all sorts of cool ways that he does that. But again, watch the way that he comes back to it. So I'm going to recap all of this in a few short sentences right before we hop into it. Traditionally, in Terran vs. Protoss, Terran is the aggressor. We're going to see LiquidHero be the aggressor very often, and we're going to see how that puts Terran on the defensive footing. We're also going to see big deviations from core army compositions, and the way in which Hero pulls back to that core army composition smartly. That might be the most organized introduction I've ever done. It was a little long, but my God, the invigorating feeling of text twist. Just, look, let me just one more round, okay? One more round. Blur, bar, bra, ram, arm, mar, mal, blah, roomball, brumal. Ooh, no, that is a word. Oh, that's such BS. M-B-A-R. Umbral. What? Umbra? Ulna? No, there's no M. Damn it, M-B-A-R. Lumbar? Yeah, thank you, Dr. House. He never has lupus, does he? Lamb, mal, lab, bower. Man, this is like one of my worst rounds, but you know what? I don't care. arm. Let's see. Rum is a word. Bumper. Blur. We already have blur. Rawl. Rum. Something like that. Oh, God. Come on. Come on. Come on. Lamb is a word. Able? Realm? Album? Ulner? Damn it, I don't have an N! Oh, God. Oh, this is terrible. Ball, bar, bomb. Bram, brow, brum. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, I'm not doing well. Oh, my God. Balm is a word. God. Oh, what? Berm? Burl. All right. Mural. Blam. Blam. Why is that not a word? Alum. Who gets the word alum but Day 9? Or probably any of you who are trying to cheat. Now, one thing that hurts is that Umbra is a really good mission in Earth Defense Force 2017, so I want it badly to be a word. Oh, God. We have Mir Album, Ruble, Rumba? Typing it on accident. Victory. Wow, today really is going to be the greatest daily of all time. All right, and now we have 5 minutes before the break. Guys, good. We had an amazing introduction. We just saw me nearly fail a round of text twist, but you know what? I can handle the shame just fine. And you still look beautiful. So I'm going to come over here. We're going to look at this game. We have Liquid Hero spawning in the position on the left. In the south, we have the best foe you that I would normally call the best foo. Good. All right, cool. So the map is going to be Antigua Shipyard. So we have big, long, fat, frickin' distances between dare bases. He's going to go ahead and build his pylon at the start of the game. The basic opening that Liquid Hero is going to do, I don't want you to over-obsess about. On this map, you can do things like go Nexus, and then build your gateway and your gas. We see Hero obviously not doing that, as here we have a gateway and a gas. But if you like early expanding, you can do that. If you like these sorts of openings, you can do this as well. Hero's going to poke in, and per usual, the number one thing that you will ever look for in PvT at the start of the game is whether your opponent has gas or not. Very important lesson just to throw out there. Real good players, I don't mean like real good, like using real as the term vary, but I mean actually smart good players. The real ones, not the sort of ones who incidentally have success. The true incredible good players know that you are not necessarily trying to conclude what he's doing, you're trying to conclude what he can't be doing. That's a very important difference. If you see a fast gas, you don't know if he's going for tech. You don't know if he's going for Marauder Push. You don't know if he's going for factory. Hell, when you leave his base, he could very well still build a command center and still fast expand. So when you see gas, you cannot conclude that he is teching. Here, what you can do is you can look at these gas geysers not being here and say, aha, he can't be teching. That is the thing to think. Excelente. Fantastico. So, of course, we can conclude what he cannot be doing. Blam! So Liquid Hero is going to do, kind of a reasonable move. He's going to say, oh, I see you with no gas. You can't be teching. So you know what? I'm just going to pull guys out of gas. I'm going to get myself a Nexus. Let's actually just wait till we can actually see something. I don't even need to get a Zealot or a Stalker up early because what are you going to threaten me with? Marines? Well, you know what? Marines suck. Just in the early game. All the rest of the time they're super good. Early game Marines blow hard. So of course getting our cybernetics core, right? Everything's good. Now let's talk let's talk about this notion of the ball that I brought up. The ball's in whose court? Well, not really anyone's court. The Protoss can do a little teensy bit of aggression with this first Zealot and Stalker, just a smidge. But there's honestly not too much that you can do as Protoss. On the Terran point of view, what is this? Another way of saying this sort of opening? It's not just big Marines, but already the best foe you is trying to seize the aggression. The ball is in his court in the early parts of the game. And because there's bunkers, there's not really that much that Hero can do. Hero could get, say, Blink. He could do some sort of drop, and that would be some ability to be aggressive back to his opponent. However, at this point in the game, there's not that much that can be done. This is about it. And even then we see, yeesh, this sort of stuff happening. Now, ordinarily, at a moment like this, you almost always end up pulling your stuff back. But this is something that is very characteristic of OGS Hero. This, right before we step into an ultra brief break, I want you to just visualize the minimap right now. Just look at this, right? We've just seen a shit ton of Marines. We have a Stalker that's about to be dead. We don't really have that much defense back home at our base. We just finished a robotics facility. What can we build? An Immortal? That doesn't really seem very good against Marines. Everything in your usual intuition would say, time to be defensive. Time to sit at home and just play it safe. Because he has this huge Marine army. But Liquid Hero immediately moves out with his Stalkers aggressively. He's poking out. He's keeping all his stuff out on the map, ready to do some damage at any point in time. And look at this, even moving forward with 2 Stalkers. And look, where is this probe going? This probe is actually going to build some pylons right up over here. Already setting the tone of the game. He's going to be aggressive. He's really going to be smacking his opponent down. We're going to come back in 2 minutes, and we're going to see some beautiful developments from OGS Hero. We've seen just some hints of it already, but we're going to see some really cool aggression. Colossus Drop, as a matter of fact, is coming up right in part 2, so don't go anywhere, because Day 9 Daily has only just begun.